But I wanted to get to a bigger point. Because the time comes, somewhat pun intended, for us to take the gloves off when it comes to Jake Paul.
Jr. loses a unanimous decision to Jake Paul in 2025. The fight has not even played out yet.
It's fixing the fights. It's not fair. It's an embarrassment on boxing. He shouldn't be doing this. It's so embarrassing. He's fighting old men.
Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back. He straight up exposed Jake Paul, calling his fights suspicious and possibly rigged. Furious, he slammed Jake's habit of picking much older opponents and said, "It's time to take the gloves off literally." And figuratively, Smith pointed out that this isn't new behavior. He brought up Jake's planned fight with 58-year-old Mike Tyson and called it dangerous, unethical, and purely driven by greed. According to Stephen A., Jake is using massive paychecks to lure aging legends into the ring, not to test himself, but to pad his record and bank account. He's not proving he's a real fighter. Smith argued, he's just exploiting faded names for clicks, cash, and fake credibility.
These are the kind of things that I'm talking about here. Boxing's a skill. Let me give y'all an example. Remember Francis Ngannou? Remember that monster? That Nigerian nightmare? Remember him? And then we saw him show up and show a little skill against Tyson Fury, who came there out of shape. What happened when he got into the ring with Anthony Joshua? He got put to sleep much in the same way Nate Robinson got put to sleep. Boxing is a skill. Jake Paul is a professional. He trains. At some point in time, I don't give a damn if it's a light heavyweight. Better be a Bivol, a super middleweight, Canelo, Mexican monster, David Benavidez, somebody that actually has a reputation.
A wave of confusion and suspicion hit fans during round 7 of Jake Paul's fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Several viewers claimed they saw online sources already showing Jake as the winner before the fight had even ended. That premature result sparked serious questions. How could any platform declare a winner before the final bell? Was it a glitch or something more? For many, it didn't feel like a mistake, it felt like proof. Proof that the outcome might have been set in stone long before the punches were thrown. The moment added even more fuel to long-standing accusations that Jake Paul's fights are rigged, or at least carefully controlled behind the scenes. To skeptics, this wasn't just a tech error, it looked like a moment where the curtain slipped, revealing a fight that was never meant to be fair.
As you are watching this video, Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez are currently right now in the 7th round of their fight. But when you go to Google and Google the fight, it gives an accurate breakdown of all their past fights. And then it comes to the current fight, and it says that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. loses a unanimous decision to Jake Paul in 2025. The fight has not even played out yet. Yet they're saying that this is the end result as they are fighting right now, currently as it stands. This leans testament to the fact that people state that Jake Paul has his fights fixed. What's your thoughts on this? This is nasty work. Unbelievable. This is Google. Google it yourself. Peace.
Many fans were left scratching their heads at Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.'s lifeless performance. For a fighter with his history, his passive approach was almost shocking. Throughout most of the fight, he stood still, barely threw punches, and showed little to no urgency. For a veteran boxer, that kind of flat performance didn't just raise eyebrows, it raised questions. In the final 2 rounds, he finally threw a few shots, but to most viewers, it looked like he was just trying to save face, not win the fight. That's when the internet stepped in. Some fans started calling Jake fake Paul, not to insult him but to suggest he wasn't facing any real resistance. The vibe: this fight felt more like theater than sport. A scripted performance, not a true contest.
Under 40 in 6 months. And he's been off the El Chapitos. He's been off the El Mayo Zambada up his nose. So he's probably more like 48 adjusted. A 48-year-old man. Okay. There's numerous angles here, right? Is he paid not to throw punches? That's possible. Is he just 48 in La Coca years? That's also possible. What we know for a fact is, fake Paul's useless, honestly. He's proper useless. Chavez like this, standing there, no pace. The last few rounds he had a little bit of pace. Even then, Fake Paul just clings on though. Fake Paul's, I've been saying this, Fake Paul's got no inside at all. He's got no stand, and let's have a look. Let's work here. If he's coming at me, he clings on for dear life. He kind of pushes his punches out, slap, slap, slap. Nope, all this talk of power. These dudes, Chavez actually, he looked a bit smaller than Fake Paul. Fake Paul's not a cruiserweight. He's a light heavyweight, honestly. He's so soft. He's got like these big rubber dingy arms. Big rubber, soft. Not. Chavez looked more like an athlete. But that'll be on. Well, is Jake Paul going to fight anyone? They're already walking back the Zurdo situation. Oh, Zurdo don't sell. Well, we knew Zurdo didn't sell.
Even days after the fight, fans are still questioning whether Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was legit. Something just felt off, and the internet won't let it go. Skeptics point to Chavez Jr.'s bizarro lack of offense. He barely threw punches for most of the fight, then suddenly came alive in the final 2 rounds, looking weirdly fresh. One Twitter user summed it up perfectly. Jake Paul fight clearly rigged. No way a real boxer sits there for 8 rounds, barely throwing, then suddenly starts boxing like he's fresh as hell in the last 2. Nah, you can't tell me nothing. He was told to lose and just make it look close at the end. This kind of thing is becoming more common. Fights involving stars like Jake Paul draw millions, but fans are starting to see the pattern spectacle over sport. The influencer boxing trend has brought huge attention, but it's also sparked backlash from real boxing fans. Many feel these matchups are designed for views, not fairness. When names like Chavez Jr. are involved, people expect a fight, not a performance. Still, controversy is part of the appeal. Love it or hate it, that suspicion was this rigged is exactly what keeps people watching.
You felt like boxing's pretty rigged overall.
Oh, yes, rigged. I mean, so many politics, even with, MMA, man, there's so many politics. There's no more art anymore. It's just, let's get an influencer in there. I get it. It's like generating money because our attention span is so short. You look at clips now, it's like 7 seconds. I saw a dude slamming a lady the other day, and they were like, oh my God, that dude is, I'm like, well, what the do? I'm just gonna pick somebody and slam them. Where's the whole video? And our attention span is just so small, so money talks, of course. Yeah, let's get an influencer in there who has no style, but it draws attention. It's just dumb to me.
There's another angle people are arguing about it. It's just as controversial. Some say this wasn't about a rigged fight, but about money. Julio Cesar Chavez Hotairi, shockingly low punch count. 13 punches thrown in the entire fight has been seen by many as a sign he didn't even try to prepare. To them, it wasn't fixed. It was just a lazy cash grab. Critics are now turning their attention to Julio Sr., saying he should have stepped in to protect the Chavez name from becoming a joke. Letting his son take that fight in such poor shape felt less like pride and more like a public sellout. Accepting that bout under those conditions wasn't bravery, it was a paycheck disguised as boxing.
Results, a couple of shocking results. I think that Jake Paul undercards and the promotional arm of his brand, I think, is the most fun part of what Jake Paul brings to boxing. Honestly, I think long term, I think that's what we can all hope for. Jake's fights are, this one was borderline atrocious. And kind of the writing was on the wall, but I gotta admit, even I drank the Kool-Aid, and mainly I drank the Kool-Aid because Chavez Sr., who also is disgraceful for doing this, made me believe, and I think, this has been the problem with Chavez Jr. He's been enabled constantly by the media, the promoters, his family, and all this other stuff. So he never really shows up prepared. He never cares and just shows up to get paid and basically steals the bag every single time. And he did it tonight again. The reason I actually thought this fight had a chance was because Chavez Sr. Guaranteed us that his son was motivated and was having a training camp. So as much of a Hall of Fame career as a father had, he's the con artist, I guess, must run in the family, because Junior's been a con artist his whole career, but at least he's been enabled to prove it, But now the father doing this, I mean, you knew already your son wasn't going to be ready. You put your own reputation on the line and sold us this crap. And then ultimately your son throws what most guys will throw in a round. He throws it through 10 rounds. It was actually kind of really insane.
Jake Paul has pushed back hard against the growing rumors, especially those surrounding his upcoming fight with Mike Tyson. He says the accusations are baseless and come from jealousy or fear of how fast he's risen in the boxing world. According to Jake, people call every big fight rigged just to discredit his hard work, but fans aren't exactly convinced. With most of his opponents being either retired legends or inactive fighters, the pattern is hard to ignore. And now, the Tyson fight has taken the controversy to a whole new level. People are openly questioning why a 27-year-old in his prime is facing a 58-year-old boxing icon who's been out of real competition for decades. Jake says it's all hate, but critics say it's another setup dressed as a challenge.
After I beat Mike Tyson, the amount of people saying this is rigged was crazy. They showed this clip of Mike Tyson going to swing at me with a left hook, and he stopped doing it, but saw I had my right hand up. So he would have swung like this, I catch it and shoot. He's leaning forward, I could have knocked him out. So that's why he stopped throwing it. And it's they play this one clip and it has literally 50 million views on TikTok, but the average person doesn't understand boxing.
Boxing coach and former Olympian Tony Jeffries also jumped into the conversation, saying people are too quick to scream rigged just because they don't want to give Jake Paul any credit. Jeffries pointed out that most of Jake's wins have come against older or less dangerous opponents, so it's not like he's beating top-level boxers, but that doesn't automatically make the fights fake. He wasn't really defending Jake's skill, but he was calling out the public for constantly crying foul without real proof. According to Jeffries, not every fight that looks easy is scripted. Sometimes it's just a mismatch, and Jake happens to be on the better side of it.
You might be raging and saying, but he's fixing the fights. It's not fair. It's an embarrassment on boxing. He shouldn't be doing this. It's so embarrassing. He's fighting old men.
Well, is it a fix? No, mate. It's not a fix. Is Julius Caesar Chavez past his best? Yes. Was Mike Tyson past his best? Absolutely, mate. Now, if you look at all of the great fighters, look at all of the records, and you can go and watch them and see this, you'll see that they are fighting either one of two people. Either a person who's a journeyman, who's coming in there just to lose and give the fighter their experience, or they'll be fighting someone who might have been a former champion who is now past. And finding these right opponents is key for the development of any fighter, not just someone like Jake Paul, but any fighter. Now, with Jake, because he's got so much attention on him, people are seeing this. Whereas normally, fighters are not even live on TV until they've had X amount of fights. If you look at someone like Floyd Mayweather, look what he fought in pro fight, or even his 10th pro fight. Some of these fights will not be on TV. And now Jake is on TV and he's fighting former world champions, which he's fought a few now. I think everyone should give him respect now as a fighter. Fighting someone like that and putting so much pressure on himself as well. Now, do I think that fight and other fights was rigged? Absolutely not. I think that Jake is very smart. He's picking the right fights, but at the same time, he's developed as a very good fighter now. There's no denying that he is a very good fighter now. Yes, he did lose that one fight to Tommy Fury by, was it a split decision?
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., despite all the backlash, claims he's not done with boxing. He insists this fight was just a bump in the road, but fans aren't buying it. How can someone throw so few punches and still call themselves an active fighter? His post-fight comments didn't help either. There was no sign of real motivation or accountability. Critics say he sounded more like someone making excuses than a fighter ready to bounce back. To many, his performance wasn't just disrespectful, it sent the wrong message to young fighters who once looked up to him, showing that you can show up unprepared, collect a check, and still pretend you're serious about the sport.
Well, what was difficult to do in the fight tonight that you wanted to do, but you couldn't?
Our confidence, first round, and come forward. I think when I'm back, it's not good for me. So if I'm fighting again, I'm doing this. So take the punches, but come forward and try to be more inside, because when I see him inside, his punches don't have the same power. So I think I doing a mistake in these things, fight a distance.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna ask. I kept asking myself, why isn't he working on the inside, throwing body shots, hook, upper, you know?
Yes. So maybe more fights, a little more confidence. I need more confidence.
This bout with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. isn't the first time a Jake Paul fight has been labeled scripted. Jake has built a reputation for setting up matches that feel more like staged entertainment than real boxing. Fans have started spotting a clear pattern: older opponents, predictable outcomes, and non-stop media hype. The upcoming Tyson fight has only made things worse, with many already calling it a circus act, not a competitive match. While Jake has definitely mastered how to grab headlines and go viral, it's also made him an easy target. More and more people are questioning whether he's building a boxing career or just producing boxing-themed content for clicks.
More important and quite serious news in the combat sports world. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, it's come out now. It was rigged. I can't believe it. You know, you have to question the validity of boxing these days when you can't trust two professionals to get in the ring and do their best against each other. And instead you find out Mike Tyson pulling his punches, not trying to hurt Jake Paul. Absolute disgrace. I thought better of them.
Allegations around the Mike Tyson fight are raising serious red flags. Some insiders claim there were scripts telling each fighter how to act in the ring, from controlled punches to staged moments. People say parts of the fight felt rehearsed, not real. Even more shocking, reports suggest Tyson could face financial penalties if he knocked Jake out too quickly. If that's true, it shows the fight might have been set up to protect Jake, making sure he left the ring without real damage, both physically and to his reputation.
Y'all already know I'm mad about this fight. I really wasn't even going to talk about it because I already felt like it was a setup. But when Trick Daddy Dollars posted this on Instagram, it really just confirmed and solidified everything. So, Trick Daddy Dollars posted this on Instagram, and I'm going to read it to social media. So, it says the rules for the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight are designed to favor Jake Paul. These include: the rules are extremely favorable to Jake Paul. The contract will incentivize Mike Tyson to lose and give Jake Paul an opportunity to choose himself as a winner. The first stipulation in the contract will punish Tyson for knocking out Jake because he is paid on a sliding scale per round. If Tyson knocks Jake out in the first round, he would receive no money. If he knocks him out in the second round, he would only make a small amount of cash. For Tyson to make the most money, he needs to survive all 8 rounds, which means avoiding knocking Jake Paul out. If the fight goes to a split decision, it favors Jake Paul because the judges have to be approved by Jake. I'll let y'all read.
This accusation has become almost a permanent shadow over Jake Paul's career. Many fans believe he not only pays his opponents to show up, but also to make sure they don't outshine him in the ring. These claims aren't just wild guesses, they're based on suspicious patterns repeating fight after fight, low punch counts, no knockdowns, and strange, sometimes abrupt endings. After his win against Julio, Jake surprisingly jumped into the top 15 of the cruiserweight rankings, a move that left many scratching their heads, given how little real resistance he faced. To critics, it looked less like a genuine boxing achievement and more like a carefully crafted PR victory.